Well, 2011 was quite a year for Mother Nature. Millions of people will remember this year for its extreme weather. Let's take a look back now at the natural disasters of the past year here at home and around the world.
Days after the quake now, and Japan is a nation still grappling with the sheer size and scope of the destruction. Safety fears for those who survived are now also focused on the area's nuclear reactors after another suspected partial meltdown.
Japan's disaster is serving as a wake-up call.
This earthquake in Japan will help the Pacific Northwest understand what they will need eventually to get ready for.
This tornado in Tuscaloosa shot by the University of Alabama. The school was spared, but the city of Tuscaloosa sustained massive damage.
We have utter destruction. We have neighborhoods that have basically been removed from the map.
So much and so many have been lost. More than 330 dead across 7 states. The hardest hit, Alabama, where at least 250 people were killed, more than 1,000 injured.
Oh gosh, that is a monster tornado.
Violent attack began just before sundown. A massive tornado, at times 3/4 of a mile wide, cutting through the heart of Joplin, Missouri, ripping apart everything in its 6-mile path.
So many here have been beat up physically and emotionally, wounds that will be slow to heal.
It's going to be years. It's going to be years.
An agonizing struggle to survive that's only just beginning.
The massive stage of scaffolding crumbled in wind gusts of up to 70 miles an hour, just minutes before country band Sugarland was to perform.
It was just after lunch when things began to shake along the eastern seaboard, the powerful quake rattling buildings and nerves.
I could see the buildings moving side to side, and I was like, oh, God, okay. It's enough to wake you up.
Perhaps the greatest irony of Hurricane Irene is that landlocked Vermont is suffering the greatest impact from the storm.
And then the water started coming from the river towards the house, and that's when it was time to get out.
2 days after the storm blew through New England, dozens of towns in Vermont remain cut off. Washed-out roads and bridges will take months to repair. Recovery in North Carolina will also take some time. The Outer Banks' only highway is washed out in several places.
This entire state, especially central Texas, is under a siege right now.
The worst of the fire seems to be in Bastrop. 5,000 families have been forced to leave, many watching as smoke continues to fill the sky and wondering what might be left when the air clears.
We just lost our house. We just found out that our house has been destroyed.
What you lose in 40 years of marriage and all the stuff from your grandparents and your parents.
So many struggling to piece together what they can and trying to figure out what comes next.
Global extreme weather losses by the number of events are 3 times greater now than they were in 1980. And over the last 20 years, financial losses have more than doubled for hurricanes, floods, wind, and winter storms.